Namaste Satnam, welcome to I Am Woke. I am your host Emelina Calder. In today's video, I'm going to take you through a Twin Flames 2024 reading. Energetic update or energetic read channeled specifically for twin flame relationships, divine unions, and deep soulmate bonds. If you're new to my channel, hello, welcome. My name is Emelina. I'm a high-performance spiritual life and personal branding coach, a psychic medium, a spiritual mentor, a cosmic modern shaman, and an Akashic Records reader. And on my channel, you can expect to find energy updates for the new moons and full moons, energy updates and readings like this one, as well as spiritual and personal and practical personal development. If that sounds like your vibe, go ahead and tap that subscribe button and the bell for notifications so you don't miss any awesome energy updates. Now, if you haven't heard yet, I made a very special channeled meditation for you guys. It's called the Sacred Rainbow Flame of Creation. It'll help you reconnect to your own source consciousness, your own creative channel, synchronize with your soul and your spiritual awareness and your spiritual purpose. You can go ahead and get the link in the description below for free. All right, let's jump right in. I'm going to do a reading for twin flame and deep soul bond, relationship connections, romantic relationships for you guys using a bunch of different oracle card decks, and then I'm gonna pull a crystal to get a read from my little bowl of crystals here. The reason why I wanted to do a twin flame reading for you guys is because it has been constantly coming to my attention that there are probably millions of relationships coming on board over the next several years, but more specifically over the next 11 to 12 months, where because there's been so many people awakening on the planet, consciousness is growing at a really rapid pace, which means that there is less need for like the more mundane human sort of relationships, and there's now an elevated need for soulmate, twin flame, or deep soulmate bond relationships, because the more that you awaken, the more spiritual growth you move through and you're available through for, and your consciousness expands and grows and you have deep awareness. So from the soul perspective, it makes sense at that point, as you're growing and developing in this way, and as so many people are now, that you're positioned in romantic relationships and soulmate contracts with soulmate partners, because they're more closely tied and linked to your own personal soul frequency. So it's easier for them to reflect the learning and the love and the lessons and the expansion and the awareness back to you. These are really beautiful growth modules, as I like to affectionately call them. They're really beautiful spiritual relationships. And my guides have told me that there are like millions coming online now. Like, it was more standard to have human relationships before without like the more common soul bonds. And now, because humanity is awakening so rapidly, and there are millions and millions of people every year now shifting and awakening at an exponential rate, that there are going to be an exponential rate of deep, deep soulmate connections in romantic union. Now, what I'm being told kind of immediately, and the noise in the background is confirming, is that there's going to be a bit of a changeover. So not to like frighten you guys, but some of you that are in relationships right now that are normal karmic relationships, human-based karmic relationships without a soul bond, that are going through your awakening process, will likely be given the opportunity to see if you want to switch over to a more soul-based soul contract, something that goes deeper with the love and deeper with the growth. Of course, that'll be up to you, and only take this if it resonates. This is a collective reading. It will not apply to everyone, so take what you love, leave the rest, only take what feels good in your soul. And then for all of the people that are single and mingling out there are going to be a lot of you that are just going to notice this click with certain people. And actually, as someone like me, I'm always like in contact with a lot of soulmates, because I don't vibe well with karmic partners. So I really only attract soulmates. But for those of you that are more new to this awakening process, you'll start to realize like somebody will just be very striking, and you'll be like, I don't understand this level of attraction. It doesn't even necessarily feel physical, but I'm definitely physically attracted to them. But it just feels like a full system turn on. Like, because when you are with a soul partner, you have the opportunity to have that attraction and that exchange and that sensuality and sexuality and awareness awakened at the physical level, at the emotional awareness level, at the mental awareness, and the spiritual and energetic awareness. And when all of those different like subtle bodies are turned on, like lit up, you'll be turned on. Like literally you'll be like in an attractive state. You'll receive some level of a glow up and you'll just be like, I don't understand, this person is just for me. And it'll feel like it's just a decision, like they're just for me. I just feel them, I just get them, I just know, but there might not be a full explanation. It's because the explanation is actually delivered at the multiple like levels of the subtle energetic body. So anyway, that's how we're starting off here already. I am channeling through the law of one with it, which is source consciousness. So whatever source wants to bring forward for you guys is what will come through. Okay, so I'm just gonna pull a set of cards here and then I'll go through the reading with you guys. So what does the collective need to know about twin flame and deep soulmate bond relationships, romantic relationships? And this reading is intended to be timeless. I am reading it at the beginning of 2024. My intention is that it is for the year. But if you reach this at any point in the future, know that it'll reach you at the right time, space, location in the quantum field to give you the information and the downloads and the transmission that you most need. Relevant to your divine union, your divine partnership. Those literally just popped right out. Okay. This deck is so challenging for me to shuffle because it's so big. Okay. Going through my next deck. This is my Daily Crystal Inspiration deck. It's one of my favorites. What does the collective most need to know right now regarding twin flame and deep soulmate bonds and romantic relationship? Okay. What's the collective right now most need to know around twin flame and deep soulmate romantic relationships? What's the collective most need to know right now around deeply committed, twin flame, and soulmate, deep bond, romantic relationships? What does the collective most need to know right now around soulmate, deep soulmate, and twin flame, romantic relationships? Oh my God, they're flying out. They're flying out, you guys. Oh my gosh. Okay. All right, let's start. Where am I led to first? From the Carolyn Mice deck, what's coming up that is standing in the way of you receiving your current twin flame, deep soul bond union, like deeply romantic love. I have two cards that have come up here. The bully and this is like the bully and the like make your own. So I'm gonna go into this bully card. It says light attributes, highlights your tendency to intimidate others, helps you confront the inner fears that bully you. The shadow attribute is conceals deep fears behind verbal or physical abuse. So in order for you to step into your new soul contract or elevate a romantic contract with a twin flame or a deep soul bond this year in 2024, you're going to have to do the things that you don't want to do, which I'll explain. So there is a lot of energy around a lot of us where we've been bullied into submission, bullied to not speaking our truth, bullied to conform to other people's thoughts, ideas, or interests or opinions of us. And then what they're showing me too is our own ability to like bully ourselves. So because we were taught that we weren't enough, or taught low self-worth, or taught, whatever it was in our upbringing, we then turn into these bullies in our own consciousness where we're like, well, I'm not enough. I'm not worthy enough. This card is saying to release anything in your psyche, in your consciousness that says that you are not worthy of true love. And if you guys are wondering, like literally, I have true love tattooed on my arm, which is mainly, this is my offer to the world, which I could go into another entire video on explaining this, that came out of a sacred ceremony that I did around my offer for true love. But also it is the dedication to true love, which is also to receive true love, which is to receive divine love. And what's standing in the way of receiving this divine love is you bullying yourself and others bullying you. And at this point, for you to move through everything that's been blocking you and blocking your divinely selected romantic union, you got to get out of your way and start speaking your truth, which means you're going to start, I don't want to call it being aggressive, but it's almost you kind of got to aggressively create your path and aggressively make your mark and territory in this world, and completely and totally reject other people's opinions, even if they might be good opinions. And what's further emphasizing that is the Lion card that came out from another deck of mine. That is all about courage. It's all about standing in your truth. It's all about understanding who you are and having a sacred and fearless heart and how you love. So as you step into the authenticity behind who you are and have the courage to express yourself in the fullness of your capacity of your heart and functioning and behaving from your heart, not your mind, in the world, you will then attract the right romantic, divinely inspired twin flame or deep soulmate union to you. But what's standing in the way is everybody else's opinion. Because here's the thing that I'll tell you from deep experience of twin flame relationships. And if you haven't seen my videos, I will link, I have 2 videos that go into deep dives on soulmate contracts and twin flame relationships. Twin flame relationships are not standard relationships. Most of your friends and family will not like them. They will reject them. They will say, you shouldn't date these people. You shouldn't be with these people. Now, not to say you shouldn't take other people's opinions into mind, but you really shouldn't when it comes to your heart. You got to trust your heart. And twin flame relationships don't look logically oriented. They don't look perfect. They are growth oriented. They are soul oriented. And that soul expression speaks through you and your attraction to the other person, even if maybe they're of a different age range than you, or maybe they're from a different socioeconomic status, or maybe they just have a totally different cultural background to you. The thing about these deep soulmate bonds when they're selected for us in spiritual growth is that a lot of that growth comes from a difference and a similarity at the same time, but it's not like a logical, linear, societally based, pre-approved of relationship. I'll just say that much for that. Now, the other card that flew out from this deck was the blank. And I don't know if you guys can see this, but it says light attributes at the top and shadow attributes below. And this is the make your own card, okay? So this is what they're telling me is that, not that it's standing in the way of the relationship, but you need to gain clarity and decide what's important to you. What is it that you want? If you were given the most miraculous, most amazing, true love, soulmate, twin flame, bonded, committed relationship that was beautiful in all of its senses, what would be your priorities? So I can say right off the bat, for me, my first most priority is personal growth. People got to keep up with me. I dedicate everything to my ascension work. And that is always my personal tremendous priority, and has been since I was 20. And that's literally at the forefront of my mind in every relationship that's around me. Now, for other people, it might be something different. Maybe your priority is travel and new experiences. Maybe your priority is business, creating business together. Maybe your priority is having children and raising a family. And, there are a lot of different priorities. And if you understand, what I would say the light attributes are, understand your priorities, then you'll understand the sort of partner that you're looking to attract in. Because we all have multiple deep soulmate relationships available to us. And I guess what I'm saying here is when you understand the priority, you're prioritizing to spirit what is the most compatible for you, with using your own free will in a really positive way. So know what your priorities are and know these shadow attributes. Create your own non-negotiables list. Okay. I've got substance abuse as a non-negotiable on my shadows list. So think about the things that are absolute non-negotiables for you in partnership. Something else that might be good to throw on those non-negotiables are narcissists, or any level of like major mental psychosis. I take that stuff off my list. So anyway, get really clear with your priorities and then get really clear with the absolute non-negotiables. I will not date or be in relationship with someone that does these things or has these behaviors. Make that list for yourself with spirit. I know you guys are probably accustomed to hearing like the dating checklist and stuff like that. And it's not that I don't believe in that, like go ahead and go do those things. But really what this has to do is like, with your own personal and spiritual growth and development, with your own character, who you are, who you're building yourself into, who you're becoming in the future, will dictate the priorities that come up in compatibility for relationships, including deep soulmate bonds. And when you get really clear about your priorities and your non-negotiables at the spiritual level, at the personal development level, then spirit can get really clear with either selecting the right partner and or helping to train the right partner that has been selected for you through their own personal experiences before they get to you, so that they have worked through the things that would have been non-negotiables on your list. So keep that in mind. Now I'm going to scoot over to another set of cards here. So you also want to make sure, they're telling me there's going to be deep integration work when you guys come together. This is from the Sacred Geometry deck. And what the integration says is the frequency of integration supports our embrace of every aspect of ourselves, allowing what we perceive as positive and what we perceive as negative to harmonize in the balance and symphony of life. And alongside that, we have the solar plexus card, which is all about personal power and confidence. The frequency of the solar plexus chakra, the yellow flower of life, supports our sense of self, our personal power, and our willpower, as well as our knowing of who we are and what we contribute, what our contribution is to the whole. So what I'm getting here is that when you guys come together, first thing is, to attract the right partner, you're going to need to be in the space of your own personal confidence. You want to make sure that you are doing your own personal self-care, really taking care of yourself in all of the ways that you know how, developing your own solid spiritual practice so that when they come, you can acknowledge them spiritually. And understand that they are in your sphere, that they did step into your world and your environment, and not ignore them, which happens a lot too, with people that aren't keeping up at that like pace of spiritual ascension work with soulmate partners. You could end up running into them and not realize they're a soulmate. So you want to make sure that you have like that lens of understanding of your own spiritual work and your own spiritual process, and ask for the signs to acknowledge the person when they're in your world so that you don't miss them. Now, that to say, you can't miss anything that's yours. If you do miss them for any reason, they'll come back on another loop, on another cycle to make themselves known to you. Now, integration is really important because as you come together with a deep soul bond, the integration is the two souls coming into alignment, merging their strengths, their weaknesses, their soul frequencies together, where you kind of like become a collaborative like unit of an experience. It's very energetically collaborative. And that means that everything is integrated, the dark and the light, the good and the funky, like all of it. With that being said, that means everything comes up to the surface that is, you know, going to be the mirrored reflection in the relationship. Twin flame relationships and deep soul bond relationships are mirrors. They reflect you back to yourself. And it's not always a direct reflection in the way that like you'll both have the same strengths or whatever it is. Like sometimes that can be the case, or the same expression. You might have like physical similarities. But a lot of the time what it is just reflecting your entire soul back to you in the form of this other human. And you're also reflecting them back to them because you share a similar soul frequency. So a lot of this could be like looking at your shadows. Some of these relationships can be kind of crunchy and tumultuous as you sync up and get into them, because once you come together, you start like the energetic medicinal process, which is to start the alchemy of coming together In the process of alchemy, there's heat, there's pressure, there's discomfort until it becomes refined, right? Until you get whatever your product is. Like if we talk about alchemy, it's like lead turning into gold. So in the process of the lead, you have two pieces of lead coming together. Then there's the whole spiritual process that's very uncomfortable of all of that heat and pressure and timing and circumstance and challenge and, opportunity, whatever it's going to be, in order to get to the point where you are now in the position of having gold, of having a refined relationship, a really refined experience. In the process of that, your shadows will come into light. All the things that you've been ignoring about yourself, that twin will bring to the surface, whether they'll show it to you in their behavior, or they'll show you your own expectations of them or yourself in relationship, out of relationship, in separation, whatever the circumstance is. You will start to see the traumas that you've experienced in your life. You'll start to see the childhood wounding that has been dormant, that maybe you've been like racing around with your friends, ignoring because it's not being triggered or coming up. So you think like you're over and done with it. And then you meet a twin flame and you're like, holy F, I did not realize how insecure I am in like 1,011 different ways. And then you got to go deal with that. Or I forgot about that trauma. I thought I dealt with that. There's a lot of childhood stuff coming up. She got some abandonment wounding, and all of that. You got to kind of deal with all of it. Not kind of, you got to deal with all of it. You got to go into this deep process of integration. And then I also pulled out this dynamic card. So the relationships are very, very sacred, very dynamic. And this is showing me immediately, my guides always call this the three, coming into three. So there's like you, your twin, and God. And you have the triangle of support, the trinity between the three relationships coming together to become one through the spiritual alchemical process. The frequency of dynamic supports our ability to harmonize between the layers and aspects of different origin and frequency. It helps us to put together a reality that is made up of many different elements, both familiar and completely new, with ease, grace, and great joy. This is the alchemy card. This is what I was just talking about. This is the alchemy of the souls coming together with God as the glue, if you will. And I love that this card says with ease, grace, and great joy. The deep soulmate bonds can be tumultuous. They can be very joyful as well. Often it's a huge conglomerate of all of it. And I think if you focus on the whole of understanding that to come together, that some things are out of alignment and need to sync up and get into alignment. And that can be a bit of a process for deep soulmate relationships and twin flames. Just knowing that, being okay with that, and having joy along the way, because ultimately you're getting what you want, right? You're getting a really beautiful relationship. Now, jumping over to the crystal cards, I pulled out the smoky quartz, which says let it go, and garnet, which is ignite your passion. Okay, smoky quartz is a deeply clearing crystal. It allows you to release the past and step into something new. It reduces negativity. It is, I think it might be one of the self-cleansing crystals. And then garnet, I actually don't know that much about garnet, but it says ignite your passion. It is a root chakra crystal. So I think what they're channeling through right now actually is similar to this dynamic card. This is actually showing me as well the lower triangle. And we've got lots of yellows, you guys, so much yellow. And these are, we got yellows, and this is garnet's red. Yellows and reds. I got more red here and more red in the lion card. Like, this is all about your lower triangle. These are your lower chakra points. So the solar plexus is yellow, the sacral is orange right below it. The solar plexus is in charge of your confidence. The sacral is in charge of your creativity and your sexuality and relationships. And then your root chakra is in charge of like security and stability and all the basic human things. And that color is red. So my attention is being brought to the triangle and to the passion. These are supposed to be very, very passionate relationships. Now, a lot of soulmate relationships can be more like heady, I would say, because you'll feel the mental connection, you'll feel the spiritual connection. But what's really different about this year, about 2024, about the number 8, about the infinity that's coming into play, is I'm being told that the 5D relationships are merging into 3D, and this was not like traditional for the past on Earth. This is like a very new thing, they're telling me. So this is like the best of all worlds, you guys. If you want passion and great sex and you want a soulmate relationship, like something really spiritually deep, it's yours. It's yours. And that used to, I won't say it wasn't the case before. It's not that they're telling me it wasn't the case. It just wasn't common because it was taking almost like too much energy to sync the 5D and the 3D. So you pretty much, they were showing me there were tracks that we had to do when souls came down to earth, is like, choose, do you want a 5D or a 3D relationship? And I've had both of these actually in my life. So, and I did have that like separation. So anyway, what they're saying is the twin flame union contracts that are coming online this year for you guys are not just like soul, etheric, spiritual, woo relationships. They're going to be real charged. They're going to be really passionate. They're going to be very sexual. Like, enjoy it. Okay. Go on trips together. Like, ignite that passion, and actually I have a book over here as well. I'm going to touch more on sexuality, sacred sexuality with you guys on my channel. But this is from, oh my gosh, Justin Pierce and London Winters. They wrote this book called Playing with Fire. And this is about sacred union. This is like deep intimacy work in union with two people. And this is actually a really amazing book. I would recommend. But anyway, I feel so scattered on this. So actually I could see even just how I'm doing this read. It's like right now, the relationships, a lot of you aren't together. A lot of you don't know who these people are. And I'm being shown like June to August, most of these are going to start coming on grid and they might take a year to sink in. There's actually 2 tracks. Some might take a year to like warm up to each other, to really like the DNA strand to like go back and forth and kind of sink into each other's frequencies. And then there's a whole nother crew that are going to be like in immediate, deeply committed relationships, like very quickly, which is why I was saying earlier, like there's some pushback on like more like human standards culturally on what it is to be in relationship, because twin flame relationships, I'm not recommending this across the board because there are trauma bonds and things like that. And you're going to have to like read into that, kind of dive into it, trust your gut, do your own personal growth work. But these are a lot of contracts that like people get married after knowing each other for like 3 months or something like that. It's like, they're so connected. They're so like, they just know it that they can run forward with a really deep commitment, which is not standard. And many friends and family might push back on something like that. That's what I'm being told to tell you guys. I'm also being told that a lot of these, they're telling me a lot of times soulmate relationships could start off as friendships, but that's not what I'm being shown here. The contracts are actually being pretty cut and dry, clear. Like they will start off with the intention of what the relationship is supposed to be up front. And there's something about the integrity of how the collective as a whole is working, where that is just of more value than the more slow run. It's not that it's not slow, it's that it's almost like what they're showing me is that what used to be more standard is like friendship first and then warming up into it. It actually takes more time and energy to switch the contracts over from friendship to romantic than it is to just accept like this is a romantic arrangement and then decide to take the pacing that is comfortable from that position. It's almost like there's just a really high degree or level of honesty in the beginning parts of the relationship. These will feel like very fresh, very refreshing, honest relationships. And I'm actually seeing even the collective, what they're showing me right now is the twin flame, what used to be more twin flame aspects are almost being cleared. There was like a demolition process from those of us like myself. They're showing me that have gone through many twin contracts and brought our current day consciousness and modern consciousness into what used to be really divine unions and like the collective consciousness around those unions. We did a lot of purging and a lot of cleanup. And now that we've done all of that cleanup work, it's like, wow, actually the contracts get to be so much easier. They're going to be just so much more transparent for all of you guys at the collective level that are stepping into these sorts of relationships. And in the process of that, there's a lot of letting go. So remember to let go of anything that's no longer serving you. Feel free to do some therapy or alternative healing, whatever's going to work for you there. With the Ignite Your Passion card, I'm also seeing with this Garnet card, They're also showing me to tap into your passion, whatever your passion is. If you want a twin flame and a soulmate contract in romantic union, and you want someone that's passionate and you want passion, you have to be that. You are that. You have to tap into your own creative expression. You have to really understand who you are and be totally and solely dedicated to being passionate about everything that you do. And you shouldn't be doing this with the other person. Don't do this for something else. Like, even that in itself is ridiculous. Really, you should be doing this for you. And this is like the real standard in relationship, is like, be passionate about everything that you do, because the relationship with the other is just a relationship of you with yourself. Relationships always stem back to the self. It is your own relationship with yourself that then becomes externalized and becomes the relationship between yourself and another, right? We live in a mirrored reality. Everything is mirrored. So all that to say, be passionate about everything that you do, because why wouldn't you? It's so much more fun. I refuse to live without passion. All I have is passion. It's all I have. It's all I'm willing to do. And I recommend the same. Okay, now I'm going to jump back over to these animal cards that I love so much. Okay, so these are what came up. And I'm just going to run through real quick here. The first card that's coming up is the Swan, and this is the twin flame card in this deck. Swans represent twin flames. You can see the reflection. And this is like a deep soul contract. It's like when you have one soul reflecting to another soul. The swan is the deep reflection. They're also highly monogamous creatures with deeply committed, loving partnerships. So this is showing me just an emphasis on, twin flame. You're finding your twin flame. They're here for the romantic partnership. Be loving and gentle with it, because it's going to take a lot of courage to step into these relationships, because it really brings forward all of that which you are, including all of your shadows, all of your wounding. This is the Lion card, is you have to have courage in your heart to step into these sorts of relationships and unions, because they're not necessarily easy. They will be easier. They're showing me that there's going to be a lot of alignment, but they're not like easy in the way that, like, if you are accustomed to standard, typical protocols of dating or courtship, where things have to go a certain way, and there has to be this checkbox list, and on the first date you do this, on the second date you do this. Like, if they don't text you within 3 days, they must not like you. You can't assert yourself. You can't do that, like, as a woman, and as a man you have to only whatever the rules are. Like, yes, some of those things apply, but really a lot of it goes out the window with soulmate and twin flame relationships, because it doesn't all go out the window, but a lot of it does, because it's not about the standard courtship human ritual as much as it is about tapping into the own wealth of knowledge and resource in the depths of your heart space, in the caverns of the heart, in the intelligence of the heart, and then having the courage to step into the heart, say what needs to be said, embrace what needs to be embraced, completely, radically, and authentically be yourself without running. The horse is the runner. It is like off leash. Like, the horse doesn't represent fear, but like when horses do encounter fear, they are out. Like, they are running. And if you guys have heard, in twin flame relationships, there's typically a chaser and a runner. And that's just, another way we could say that. I feel like that gets really toxic, actually, between the chaser and the runner dynamic that I hear about in these spiritual communities online. We could also just call it alpha and omega, or masculine and feminine. And essentially, as the twins, you're switching roles. These roles are always going to be played. There's always going to be a runner. There's always going to be a chaser, because that just like is, right? And then, it's just like there's always going to be a masculine. There's always going to be a feminine. Like, there's always going to be polarity. So accept the polarity. And, I think we like go back and forth with the roles. I don't think there's one runner. I think there could be a primary runner and a primary chaser, but ultimately I think we go back and forth, because consciousness is pretty vast. I don't think we're occupying just one role. We have many different moods. Anyway, when you're running, there are a few things that are happening here. There's like the idea of freedom, right? The idea of channeling your own inner guidance, separate from the partnership and then coming into union with the partnership. This idea of freedom, this idea of freedom, being able to run free and run wild, is really important as well. And you need to feel sovereign in the relationship. And especially with twin flame and soulmate dynamics, you need to place so much more attention on what it is to be an individual, because when you're sharing a really identical soul frequency, it'll feel like you're one unit. And that can just feel like a lot. It can feel very codependent. And to kind of like sidestep or deal with, avoid some of that codependency, it's really about focusing on who am I in the dynamic with my partner. What do I like? What are my preferences? What is different and unique about me so that I can feel the difference and the space in between us, and that space is okay. And then jumping back over to here, we also have the bear card that came up that tells me that there's been like a little hibernation, a little sleep, and now there's like a wrestling awake of something new. That newness inside of yourself could be a new passion, which might be coming up, maybe a lot more creative inspiration, a new creative business project, maybe something musical or art oriented or theater based. If you're a creative, like really getting creative, it's like waking up from that slumber. And what that waking up is happening, like, yes, it has everything to do with just you being you, but it's also you being in preparation for the union, you getting in preparation for the relationship, because you don't want to come empty handed. Like, nobody wants a guest coming at their house, eating all their food and not bringing anything, like come with an offer. Your offer is your love. Your offer is your passion. Your offer is your creative energy. So what are you doing to fulfill yourself? And how are you creating more inspiration in this world, in yourself, that then you're going to bring into the relationship? Your partner's going to do the same, and you're going to have a really magnetic, very passionate dynamic that is going to be run by source, not only at the spiritual level, but also at the like sacral creative level, creative project level, creative passion level. And then of course, at the sexual level with like really sacred sex, which I'm going to go into future videos on what sacred means with that, because way too many people stand on little soapboxes and talk about, whatever. I won't get into the specifics of it, but anyway, sacred sexual activity. Sacred sexual expression. And if you haven't seen yet, I posted a video recently on sacred sexuality channeled from the Divine Mother. She gives the tea. Okay. Is there anything else I want to say about these cards? The bear also represents a spiritual awakening, which is something that comes with twin flame relationships. You can't get into a twin flame relationship without a spiritual awakening. They are spiritual awakenings. So be prepared for that. You are coming out of a long-held, deep spiritual slumber, and you might be a little sluggish. It might feel a little uncomfortable. As you're out there spiritually rummaging for food, looking around, like, I don't know, like doing something creative, it just might feel a little different. It might feel like you're waking up, and that might feel a little uncomfortable, kind of like how when you're sleepy in the morning, you're just not like thinking totally straight or clearly, like you're trying to just like get acclimated. That feels like twin flame relationship. Like, I'm just trying to like get acclimated to whatever this is. I'm not saying no, but like, what? Like, I don't know. That's the energy. Like, what? I'm like a little sleepy. They're also showing me just through my energy what's coming through, which is telling me the energy of the twin flame unions coming on board this year. Like, it's like a vibe, you guys. It's like, sultry, like soft, sweet, passionate, really relaxed. You guys are going to be sauntering into these relationships. They shouldn't be hard to get into. The signs are going to be very clear on who the people are. You will know. You will be given a sign. And is there anything else? Actually, I'm going to ask for clarity on the sign that is going to be given to you so that you know who this person is. What would be an indication of a sign for them to look out for? Spirit, tell me any indication or clarity around the sign that the collective would look for to understand if this is their partner. I'm not reading all those. That's not happening right now. They just threw out like 15 cards. Okay, one more time. Give me a sign. They gave me the unicorn. Okay, so the unicorn, the sign is going to be that this person will be, and can you hear the the siren bells or whatever behind me, literally confirmation. They're going to be a unicorn for you. They're going to be totally, completely different. Unlike anyone you've ever dated, unlike anyone you've ever seen, they're going to feel like a total, completely magical creature to you. And that is how you're going to know that they're the one for you. Is there's going to be this, like, listen, it's beeping, this confirmation. There's going to be this element of magic that you can't explain, that other people in your world and in your relationships, maybe family and friends, aren't going to understand. Because here's the thing about unicorns. They are real. They are otherworldly. They are galactic in nature. And are they real? Yes. Do they exist? Yes. But are they physical? No. So when you go to explain to your family and friends what these relationships look like, and you're getting pushback perhaps from family and friends about these relationships because they don't meet the standard cultural societal norms for relationships, it's because how the hell do you explain the presence of a unicorn when they don't really exist on the 3D? Like, it's really a 5D thing. Are they real? Yes. Is that magic real? Yes. But can you explain it? Well, you'd have to explain it like this. Well, it's a horse, and but it's a horse with like magical abilities, and it has this big long horn in its forehead. Like, you're trying to explain it using human terms, but it can only be explained using twin flame, soulmate, magic terms. You're gonna know because they're gonna stand out to you as being completely magical to the point of being borderline unexplainable. You're going to know because they're going to be totally, completely unlike anyone else that has ever come into your realm. And it's going to be obvious. Like, it will stand out like a sore thumb. Not like a sore thumb. It'll stand out like a unicorn. If a real unicorn walked into your house, you would stop and be like, what? Like, and that is how you're going to know that this is the relationship. It's going to feel like that. Now, at the back of the deck was the Eagle card. Okay, so these relationships are going to come with a lot of truth, a tremendous amount of power, and creative expression and freedom. There's going to be access to tremendous levels of freedom where you'll be flying together. And they're showing me with eagles, also highly monogamous creatures. Eagles are funny because when they mate while they're falling. So they're like, and this is the sensation of being in a twin flame union, is what they're showing me, is that you're mating while you're falling. Just think about that. Like, you're plummeting like hundreds of feet per second while being in an intimate relationship with your partner. This is what eagles do. This is what they do. They're made for it. Twin flames are made to be in these really, I don't want to say crazy, but they're very intense relationships. They really alchemize all of you with this other person and source. They really like move through a heavy set of purification. The sun is real hot. It's got a lot of heat. It is a major purifier. Anything in your spiritual experience, your soul experience, that has been needing to be alchemized into something better, into something new, will be purified through a twin flame experience. There's just nothing comfortable about that. And you just have to be okay with it. Just like, I mean, I don't know, I haven't spoken to an eagle recently, but the mating ritual, I mean, I don't know if there's anything comfortable about falling to what could be your death, like, what? But they're not, right? Like, they have wings, like, this is their mating ritual. So understand that the twin flame mating ritual is it comes with a different set of standards. It is not a standard human relationship. Could it be? Sure. But more than likely, it's actually very miraculous, very like otherworldly, totally different than anything you've encountered, and so intense that what will not seem normal to most other people, or in this case, like animals, most other creatures, is normal for the eagle. And it is how they do things. And in the process, they expose all of the truths. They go through major purification, and they are the symbol of freedom, right? They have access to the full realm of the skies. They are a predator. They rule the sky. And what came out right behind that was the star. This is remembering not to be too superficial. These sorts of relationships go really, really deep. They can be heavy, not in the way that it really is heavy, but in the way that like Anything that stands in the way of true love will come up to be released. It'll come up to be purged, because the true love is what you're really here for and what is programmed at that level. This is also about stepping out and shining. It is about being the most authentic version of yourself, being the most of yourself, and allowing yourself to be totally independent while being in a total, like, what is it called? Not codependent, it's not the opposite, but like a really healthy union. Like you're with someone else, but you are your own sovereign being, your own sovereign authority. You are molding and working together at the soul level with all of this alchemy and all of these energetics, but you are still you. You are still your own separate soul expression. And you are entitled to shine, my dear, and to step out into, they're showing me a lot of public image. This has been coming forward so much in my readings recently. And I'm going to be stepping into it more and talking about it more. But when twin flames come together, they're showing me that a lot of the twin flames coming into the collective in 2024, these intimate bonds, are going to be publicity based. A lot of them are going to be receiving a lot of public attention in whatever way is like good for that specific couple and good for the collective as a whole. And the reason why they're going to be coming, there's going to be so much public attention on these different twin flame power couples, is because they teach the rest of humanity and the rest of collective how we can work in union with a partner, how we can be in love and in service, and being able to show that publicly. It's almost like there's going to be a lot of twin flame unions linked up that are going to go through the process of the alchemy of becoming a spiritual divine union. And then once that process is relatively complete, God, spirit, universe is gonna be like, okay, here's the pedestal. Now go out into public. We're launching you into the public because we want people to see how beautiful humanity can be, how heaven can be created on earth, how we really can work together in collaborative harmony and true love, and stay away from split dualistic war-based thinking. And that's just gonna be the vibe. That's gonna be the vibe. Also, the next card that was coming out, I got two more I'm gonna show you guys. The next one is the Earthworm. And the Earthworm is the card of newbies. For most of you, this is going to be your first deep soulmate bond or twin flame relationship. Now, people like me, I've got some experience, but for most of you, this will be a first, and it will feel totally brand new. You will feel like you are in total uncharted territory. You will feel wide-eyed and bushy-tailed. Enjoy that. Enjoy the curiosity that comes with it. Have a beginner's mind. It's really special and really beautiful to have a beginner's mind, to feel like you don't have it all together, and then to step in with the cosmic egg to divine consciousness, allowing the divine to take over. This is your higher power guiding you with divine will. The cosmic egg is like, you know, this is like the coming together, the crown chakra, the full merging with source consciousness from this deck. And if you see, it's got all of the colors of the rainbow. It's like protecting the egg of consciousness. And this is the snake that is like what consciousness is. As the protector, working with your own kundalini energy and the kundalini energy of spirit, of source, of creation. So that's really beautiful. Now I'm going to pull one more card, a relationship card. This moth card just flew out of the deck, and the moth is like moth to a flame, you guys. It's gonna be hot and it's gonna feel a little scattered and chaotic, so be prepared. They're telling me do lots of journaling, whatever, but there's gonna be bullshit that's coming out. You're not gonna get into a twin flame relationship without bullshit. It just like comes with the territory. It's different than karmic partner bullshit though. It's the bullshit that's worth it, because honestly, it's like, it's purification. It's purification. It's not BS for the sake of BS. It's BS for the sake of, hey, spirit's like, did you see these lower parts of your consciousness? Have you looked at them? Have you looked at how other people treat you? Have you looked at your expectations on how people treat you? Have you taught people how to treat you? What are you accepting? What are your standards, you know? And like getting into sync with the consciousness of all of that. Moth to a flame, twin flame are fire unions, phoenix rising. They're just such beautiful relationships. And I don't always love to talk about them or label them because I think it's overdone a lot online, but I think I've got a really practical approach to twin flame relationships. That just popped up. Okay, I have no idea where this is going, but babies are thinking and attracting before they are speaking. And I will read the back. Even though you're only months old in your physical body, you are a very old and wise creator focused in that baby's body, and you came with powerful intentions. People often assume that because a child is not yet offering words, the child cannot be the creator of its own experience. But it is our promise to you that no one else is creating your experience. Children emanate vibrations, which are the reason for what they attract, even from their time of birth. This is literally just further emphasizing to me, you guys, that this is very new. That most of you have not had twin flame relationships or twin flame contracts, not only in this lifetime, but across your parallel and past lives and multidimensional realities, that this might not have been a thing for you. And what they're showing me is this will feel very new. Again, just like the Earthworm card that I pulled out earlier, is that you are stepping into a brand new experience, you know, and this isn't just physically, this is at the soul level. Like your soul has not done this work before. It hasn't been in twin flame union without steep conflict before. And it's not to say that there won't be conflict, but there really won't be. It's really about true love, you guys. True love, it's not that it's conflict free, it's that the love dominates over the fear. It's that instead of having split polarizing consciousness, a war-based consciousness, a consciousness that involves two things, love and fear, and then the fight, the consciousness is really focusing in on love, on the truth of moving through it, of being able to love through it. Can you love someone through their disease? Whatever that disease is. Can you love someone through their mistakes? Can you allow yourself to be loved through your disease and your mistakes and your humanity and the full exchange of that, knowing that in the heart, no matter what the 3D physical appearances are, in your heart, you know your truth. And the truth is that with a twin flame, this is someone that you love and that loves you. And can you constantly align with the truth, like the Lion card that came out, the courage of the heart, to know the love over the appearances and then allow the appearances to rearrange themselves to meet the love. And again, this is going to feel very new. And a lot of you are very, very old souls, archaic souls coming down to earth this time around to have a good go with like really pleasant romantic experiences. It's almost like they're telling me like, you've done your time, you guys. We're at the point where we're shifting into 5D with the earth and it gets to be a lot more fun now. You know, instead of the more war-based contracts and karmic contracts that we've all had coming down here to earth, the new contracts are love-based contracts. They're like, you get to really enjoy yourself with a partner and create with a partner and be in sacred intelligence, sacred relationship, co-creating your life or business or family or, you know, whatever things you're drawing into your life with a partner. And how beautiful is that, coming from love in absolutely everything you're doing and allowing that to be the reflection of the service that you guys are going to be bringing to this world. I also am getting a download right now to mention that twin flame does not have to be a masculine feminine relationship. It could be a gay relationship. It could be a queer relationship. It doesn't have to be strictly divine masculine and divine feminine. Those roles will always be occupied. First in the self, like the right side of the body is the is the masculine side rather, and the left side of the body is the feminine side of your energy body. And then there's the divine feminine and the divine masculine, which we all carry as codes and activations within ourselves. And then also there's the divine feminine and divine masculine externally in relationship, depending on, you know, the sort of relationship that you're in. So if you're in a masculine feminine relationship, generally speaking, the woman is the divine feminine and the masculine is the divine masculine. When they amplify and embody those divine traits, it then becomes that. Now, if you're in a gay relationship, still, even if it's same gender, there still is a divine masculine and a divine feminine component or counterparts, right? So that just came through to be mentioned to you guys. Also, the next card that popped out that I want to read is other people's opinions. Other opinions are less important than my personal guidance system. This is all about just focusing on your alignment to source. Other people's opinions are none of your business. I have a video I'm posting on my channel shortly about this. If I've already posted it, I will link it somewhere in the description or in the card. You did not intend to use the opinions of others to measure against your beliefs, desires, or actions in order to determine the appropriateness of them. Instead, you knew and still remembered long after you were born that it was the relationship between the opinion or knowledge of source within you and your current thoughts in any moment that would offer you perfect guidance in the form of your emotional guidance system. So when they say emotional guidance system, it's how you feel. When you feel good, you are receiving your divinely inspired guidance. You are alongside with your own source consciousness in synchronization with who it is that you are at the soul level. So that's really beautiful. Okay, I'm going to pull a crystal for you guys. And then I'm going to end our reading. Okay. What does the collective most need to know right now? I'm sorry if this is loud. Okay, I'm trying to remember which agate this is. I think it's Montana agate. Okay, and I will explain what I know about this. I don't know that much about Montana agate, but in general, Montana agate is about knowing that you are of service, but that your service might almost be like of smaller work now, and you might not see it. You likely won't see it in your lifetime. That, you know, it's kind of like almost a crystal in the earth being under pressure and heat and, you know, having consciousness mold with material form until the earth like builds a crystal. Like the amount of time it takes for us to finally have like a crystal like this little work of art in my hands is it took thousands, if not millions of years. So you won't see the perfect end result of what you're going to be doing in this lifetime, in this twin flame reunion, likely in this lifetime. That's not to say you won't receive and understand, like, I don't know, like receive benefit or receive accolade or have like a really beautiful relationship that you'll enjoy at every level. It's to say that we are planting seeds right now in human consciousness. And these twin flame unions are coming on board to plant the seeds for what will prosper and be, you know, in abundance of opportunity for eons to come. And how special it is to come in as the baby, as the newborn now, and be able to plant these brand new seeds of consciousness into the planet for this new 5D experience that the planet is shifting and moving into through its own personal ascension as Gaia ascends with us and for us. So that was really beautiful. Thank you guys so much for joining me in this twin flame sacred reading for 2024. If you guys have any questions or have any experience with twin flame relationships, I'd love to hear about it in the comments below. If you like this video, please remember to go give it a big thumbs up. It helps so much with the algorithm. And remember to subscribe and tap the bell for notifications so you don't miss any energy updates or awesome sauce videos like this that I got for you. And if you guys love my vibe, I'd love to invite you to work with me as well. I'll leave a bunch of links in the description below on where you can apply for my personal one-on-one coaching with my high performance spiritual coaching program. I have a couple of beautiful 11-week online programs that you can jump into. And I've also got my I Am Success meditations, which is a full like activation channeled meditation album with 11 tracks and 5.5 hours to reprogram your mind and your subconscious around success and wealth and love and abundance. There's a beautiful ascension template meditation in there where I go through the sacred caverns of the heart, which would be really, really great to prepare yourself for sacred soulmate or twin flame union. So with all of that, thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope you have a beautiful time syncing up with your wonderful soul-based soul contracts and lovers, experiencing and embodying true love. Until next time, I'll see you guys soon.